Hi there, welcome to round 5 of the Great American Stampin Show. My name is Jodi Reinert, and I am one of 4 stampers who are competing for your vote. We are featuring the Just My Type stamp set for this round, so each of us have created a project with that stamp set. All you need to do is watch all 4 videos and then go back and vote for the one that you like the best. So just give it a thumbs up. That's all you need to do. Voting is open for 1 week, and then we will crown our winner for this week. So we hope that we inspire you. I hope we impress you, and I hope that I earn your vote in this round. Enjoy. All right, so before we get started with the card I'm going to show you tonight, I wanted to show you the Just My Type stamp set in the annual catalog. It's on page 69. Of course, you can see all of this in my online store as well. But I wanted to show these fun samples. So you can see there's this cute little tiny rainbow, whole card just with that rainbow. Then of course there's the focal point with the typewriter. There's these 2 different pieces of like paper that would stick out. One's a straight edge, one's got that little curled edge, and then the different little accessories, the plant, flower, envelope, all of that there. And then this word hello is what you're seeing right here. This is actually, and the flowers in the background, this is actually one stamp, but you could very easily stamp it and trim it in different colors like it's shown right here. So there's quite a bit that you can do with the Just My Type stamp set. What I want to show you today is very different from the samples that I just showed you in the catalog. And true to my style, this is a quick and creative card. So my goal is to always give you something that's easily duplicatable, but that you're also doing some fun, different techniques or just something extra creative on the cards. So I have 2 pieces cut from these dies here, and these are part of the Nested Essentials dies. So they come like this. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of each of the shapes, and this is just one die package that you can order. I use these a lot on a variety of cards. They don't necessarily like coordinate with one particular stamp set, but you can use them. I'm sure you can imagine how you can use them on so many different projects. So let's get started with that. I cut the smaller piece from Very Vanilla, and I'm going to pull in this image here of the plant, and I'm going to use both Old Olive and Garden Green. So I'll set those there so I'm ready. Put that one in so because you'll need to see what I'm doing on that one a little bit. Okay, so I've got my Old Olive first, and I'm just tapping it on there so you can see right through there, Old Olive. But then I'm doing the good old technique that's called rock and roll. And that's where you just touch the stamp onto a different darker color so you can see what it looks like with the Garden Green, and then you'll have to listen. I just breathed on that image a little bit. That's just to kind of re-moisten the ink, I guess. It's just one of those things you do, and then stamp it on like that. Okay, then I'm going to take, so you can see the 2-tone look there. Then I'm going to take Copper Clay, one of our new ink colors, and the tiny little pot for the flower, or the plant, I should say. And I'll just line that up, super easy to do, being that it's photopolymer. I can get that right underneath. And then what I want to do is show you a little trick with the greeting. So far we've done the rock and roll on the plant and then added the pot. And now you can see the thank you like this. Thank you with the thank on top. But what I'm going to do is show you a little trick so that you can stamp it side by side, because I want that greeting to be down here on the bottom. So I've just got this little tiny scrap, and I'm going to carefully ink this up so that I only have ink on the word thank. And I'm going to kind of scoot this underneath. So I'm going to make sure the thank shows up on the vanilla. And then the U, hopefully you can see, is over that white scrap. Okay? Then you can either tap off or you could clean it. Then I'm going to ink up just the word U. And now I'm going to put that little scrap on top because I want you to stamp on the card, but I don't want to get any residual ink from the thank. So I'm going to go like that. And now, instead of having thank you, one on top of the other, I've got thank you side by side. So that's just a quick little tip, an easy way that you can kind of manipulate the stamps that come in the particular set if you want it to fit the space you have a little better than how it's designed. You can use just a tiny scrap like this. You could use like a Post-it note, just something that's going to block the other words so that you don't get any residual ink on there. Okay, so let's start. What do I want to do next? Let's take this piece of copper clay, and I've also got some copper clay jute. And I'm going to put some adhesive across the back of this piece like that, just some strips of adhesive. And then I'm going to take the jute and set the end in the adhesive and then wrap around. So there's 2 layers of it showing on the front. And then, let's see, reach across and get my little scissors to trim that. So I guess I kind of put it up a little bit higher than I needed, but that's okay. All right, so I've got the jute wrapped around the copper clay layer. And then I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals and put them on the back of this piece here. And then we'll just peel those off and finish the focal point. So it's just going to get centered there. I used dimensionals on this just so that it very easily fit over that jute under there. So it's just raised up a little bit. So this is going to be our focal point. So let's get the background. I'll set this up here for right now. Let's get the background ready for that. So I've got a thick vanilla card base. So it's 8.5 by 5.5 scored down the middle. So it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then I have a piece of both garden green and old olive, which are the colors that I used on the plant there. And I'm going to take each one, these are 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to take each one and line it up right here so that I'm doing opposite corners in my paper trimmer in the groove. So I'm going to just set it in there and cut so that I have 2 triangles. I'm only going to use 1 of each color, but I just wanted to show you how easy that is. So like I said, I just cut the cardstock to 5 1/4 by 4, and then I have 2 triangles that I can put on my thick vanilla card base. So this one here, and this one here, and then add the focal point like that. Now this would be cute, right? This is very duplicatable, easy to do, and while that definitely is my style, quick and creative is my style, but I wanted to add one more fun thing. We've already got the rock and roll. That was a fun technique, something a little extra, a little different, but I want to show you something that's super easy, a little bit messy, but super easy that adds so much. So let's go ahead and pull in the garden green ink, and I'll just leave this triangle here. And like I said, it's gonna be messy, but it's fun. So I'm just gonna put my thumbnail right there to hold it in place, and I'm gonna drag the ink pad across. I'll go back up here just so it's not completely bare up there. It's very random. Every time I do it, it's going to give me a different look on the cardstock, but this is just garden green ink with garden green cardstock. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my old olive cardstock and old olive ink. So I'll just hold it in place, drag the ink across. Obviously, the more I do it, the darker it'll be. There's no right or wrong. You can add as much as you want. A little bit messy, but it's worth it. All right, so now I've got these two pieces. It's a little, like our ink typically dries right away when I stamp it. It's probably annoying to do on screen. When I stamp it on cardstock, just a regular image. This is a little bit inky, but what you can also do is just put it upside down and kind of rub like that, and any residual ink will just come off on your scrap paper. So you shouldn't make too much of a mess. All right, so then I'll take my adhesive and put it on the back of the garden green triangle first and line that up on my bottom left. And I'm leaving a little bit of a margin on both the left and the bottom. And then I'll do the same thing with the old olive. And add that over here. I just love the look of that, don't you? It's so fun to just add that little bit of ink as compared to that, or I suppose that. It just adds so much by doing just that little swipe of the ink pad. Here they are, across the card. Okay, the last thing here is just to add some more dimensionals to our focal point. And then I'll place that right on the front of the card. Just do it a little bit higher than center. Oh, and one more thing I want to do. An in color dot. So these are our 5 new in colors. And I'm just going to add one of the little copper clay dots to the potted plant there. Isn't that fun? I enjoyed making this card so much, and it's definitely not what first came to mind when I saw this set. My first inclination was to go to the typewriter or the pretty flowers, or this piece just intrigued me so much. But then what I ended up creating was just this fun, easy, duplicatable card with the plant and the pot there. Now I do want to pull in my original sample that I did just to see if you can notice one difference that I think really stands out. To me it does. Maybe once you see it, it will to you too. So on this one, I took that ink pad and went across the diagonal. On this one, that's what I did with the garden green. But then with the old olive, I changed directions, and instead of continuing down in that same way, I did it across this way. Do you see the difference that makes in the way that it flows? So this one across versus this one at an angle. And on this one, they're both at the angle. So there's so many different little things. You can see the difference in the rock and roll technique. Every time you do these, they're going to be different, both the rock and roll technique and the swiping the ink pad across the background. But it's a really fun, easy idea that you can duplicate with your stamps and with your ink pads. And I hope that you enjoyed this alternative way to use the Just My Type stamp set. So give me a thumbs up, vote for me, and be sure to watch the other competitors' videos to get lots of creative inspiration for the Just My Type stamp set. Thanks so much for watching.